Welcome back, and we've got some news to talk about from around the Ontario Hockey League involving the Sudbury Wolves. They made not just one, but two trades over the last 2 days. The first one being announced late yesterday afternoon, and then the second trade first thing this morning. So let's dive right into it because this is a Sudbury Wolves team that is not really meeting expectations. They were the pick for the Eastern Conference for many in the preseason just by looking at the lineup that they have with the amount of returning players, those who are NHL draft picks, and right now the team's sitting sixth in the East, and because of that, I think we're seeing some teams still trying to decide whether or not to buy or sell before next month's OHL trade deadline. But a couple of moves by the Sudbury Wolves. I don't know if this really changes much with Sudbury, but there's some intriguing moves. So let's get right into it. First things first, they did a trade with the Erie Otters, picking up Lucas Signoretti for a conditional 15th round draft pick. I'm not sure about the conditions at this point, but you have to figure it depends on how many games Signoretti appears in with the Sudbury Wolves, and that will decide whether or not more picks will be moved to the Erie Otters. But Signoretti, an interesting choice. He is a proven goal scorer at the NOJHL, right now playing with the Espanola Paper Kings, and he has 27 goals, 38 assists, good for 65 points in just 29 games. So he is lighting it up in Espanola, and with Espanola being in the greater Sudbury backyard, the Wolves have had a good look at him and have decided, let's make a move, and we'll see if he makes the lineup. The only thing is for him, he's played in one season in the Ontario Hockey League with the Erie Otters. That was the 2021-22 regular season. He appeared in 58 games, 3 goals, 5 assists, good for 8 points in his rookie season. And since then, he's been playing in Espanola, so not getting a good look with the Erie Otters. And I'm almost wondering if size could be a factor here. I was looking at his stats. He is 5'6" and 168 pounds on the smaller side of things, but smaller players, they have made it work in the past. I'm just coming to mind Lucas Chiodo at the Barrie Colts. He was about 5'9" by the time he graduated from the Ontario Hockey League, and he had a pretty good run with the Barrie Colts. He was a point-a-game player in his last 2 seasons before being traded at the OHL trade deadline to Ottawa. So if you're a fan of the Barrie Colts, you remember Chiodo. He was a bit of a fan favorite. So for this trade here for the Sudbury Wolves, bringing in Signoretti, I think this could be a bit of a project for them. We'll have to wait and see when he'll make his debut with the Sudbury Wolves. But if he has that offensive outbursts like he does at the NOJHL, anything is possible. So we'll see what happens on that front. And then the second trade, it's a bit of a surprise to me. I heard the rumors yesterday that there was a potential move coming. I didn't think it was actually going to happen until I saw the announcement this morning. The Sudbury Wolves have picked up a goaltender. They picked up Marcus Vandenberg from the Niagara Icedogs, 2 third-round picks, going the other way, a 2024 pick and a 2027 pick. So it's an intriguing move, I think, for the Sudbury Wolves. Vandenberg, he is a solid goaltender. He was named goaltender of the week last week with wins over the Kitchener Rangers and the Peterborough Petes. He was sensational in those 2 games. His stats, though, he's got an .889 save percentage in 13 games and a record of 3-7-2. Mind you, the Niagara Icedogs right now sitting at the bottom of the Eastern Conference standings. So you have to figure his stats are going to be impacted by the team in front of him. So for the Sudbury Wolves, thinking maybe if we can put him in our lineup with a stronger team in front of him, maybe his numbers will bounce back. But Vandenberg, I've really enjoyed his game. He used to be a part of the Kitchener Rangers. He looked good at times with them, but then was traded in the offseason to Niagara, and now he's going to get a chance with the Sudbury Wolves. But now with this move, the Sudbury Wolves have 3 capable OHL goaltenders. You have Jakob Vondras, who is a Carolina Hurricanes prospect, and he has a record of 9-5-2, but his save percentage .875, so a little concerning. And then there's also Nate Krawchuk, who I like. I've seen him a few times here when the Sudbury Wolves have played the Barrie Colts. He's got a 4-4 record, .879 save percentage. You'd like to see those numbers a little bit better. But for Krawchuk, even in the preseason, he stood on his head and really kept the Sudbury Wolves in the hockey game. We've even seen that with Jakob Vondras. So I don't know if goaltending was the problem with the Sudbury Wolves. Obviously, they're trying to keep the pucks out of the net because they have the offensive capabilities to score at will. But maybe, I don't know if it's a systems thing that's going on with Sudbury or chemistry, but I don't think goaltending was the problem. I might be wrong. Maybe there's something I'm missing because I only see Sudbury a few times a year. But Vandenberg, we'll see what he can do. So the Sudbury Wolves, we'll see what they do on the trade front because you have to figure that they're going to move one of these goaltenders. Krawchuk might be the one that ends up being moved by the OHL trade deadline. We'll have to wait and see. Plus, we're waiting to see if Jakob Vondras will be joining Czechia at the World Juniors. So with him going to Sweden to represent his country, then you have Krawchuk and Vandenberg over the Christmas break. So I think that's a good combination for goaltenders. Does Vondras get moved by the Sudbury Wolves? I don't know. Big question marks with the Sudbury Wolves is a team that we're still waiting to see that they take that next step. But either way, they do have Vandenberg now in their lineup. We'll have to wait and see what happens next. They do play Niagara tonight, so that'll be interesting. Do you put Vandenberg between the pipes to play his former team? He played last night for the Niagara Icedogs in their 4-1 loss to the Erie Otters. So, back-to-back nights against his former team. We'll have to wait and see. But I don't know. I have some questions about this trade involving the Sudbury Wolves. But let me know in the comments section down below your thoughts on the trade. Maybe I'm in left field here. But either way, I think it is very intriguing what the Sudbury Wolves are doing. But if you look at it from the Niagara Icedogs perspective, you might be wondering, too, why would you trade a hot goaltender right now? Well, Vondras and Owen Flores, they're both 2004 born, which means next season the Ice Dogs would have had to have chosen one or the other because you don't want two overage goaltenders going into next season. I know for the Barrie Colts, their situation is different because they still technically have Anson Thornton on the roster. He has not yet been sent back by the Arizona Coyotes. But for Flores and Vandenberg, likely both there next year, so they decided to stick with Owen Flores. So he'll be the OA goaltender likely next season, and they move Vandenberg to basically solve that problem before it becomes a problem next season. So I think for Niagara, it makes sense. Getting 2 third-round picks is also pretty good. And this will also give some more ice time to one of their younger goaltenders, Charlie Burns. Keeping an eye out for him. He's been looking really good in the GOJHL with the Fort Erie Meteors. He has a record of 16-3 and a save percentage of .921. He appeared in a few games last season with Niagara, so expect him to be called up to back up to Owen Flores. But if his numbers can translate to the Ontario Hockey League, Niagara might have a really good goaltender on their hands. So we'll have to wait and see as Niagara tries to climb out of the basement and get back into the playoffs because it's been a few years. It's been a drought, and the fans in St. Catharines, they deserve a winner. The fan base in Niagara is outstanding. And hopefully this is a sign that maybe they can take a step in the right direction, keep your prospects, and develop. And that's what they're looking to do with Charlie Burns. Now, this is exciting news because I'm a jersey collector. So when I see jersey news, I get a little giddy. And the news this morning, the Owen Sound Attack, they've unveiled special jerseys to honor the Owen Sound Greys, who won the Memorial Cup 100 years ago in 1924. They plan to wear these throwback jerseys 9 times. They are orange, black, and white striped, similar to the Ottawa 67's barber pole jerseys. Actually, let's put an image up. Aren't they gorgeous? As a collector, I kind of want to get my hands on one of these. They look spectacular. They're going to look great on the ice. As I mentioned, they're going to wear them 9 times starting January 6th when they're at home against the Guelph Storm. And they'll also wear them twice when the Barrie Colts come to town for the Highway 26 rivalry. Those 2 games will be January 31st and February 21st. And another neat note about what the Owen Sound Attack are doing, they're trying to reach out to the descendants of the players on that Memorial Cup winner from 1924 as they want to honor them. And I was looking into it. They beat the Calgary Canadians for the national championship in 1924. So a real cool move here by the Owen Sound Attack as they honor some of the history from Grey County and Owen Sound Greys jerseys. Those are going to look outstanding on the ice. And also jersey related, the North Bay Battalion featuring their Centurion jerseys last night against the Kingston Frontenacs. I'll put a picture of that. Those jerseys also sharp. Kind of reminiscent of the old North Bay Centennials when they were black and yellow. And it does look sharp. And we don't usually see alternate jerseys with the North Bay Battalion or the Battalion franchise in general. So when they do make a move like this and change that logo, it does stand out. And I think they did a good job. There's also the black version which they wore last season. And I think you can purchase both jerseys right now through the North Bay Battalion shop. And you know what? If I had the extra cash, I'd probably look into that. But anyways, that's just the jersey collector and me getting excited about some new jerseys. Let me know your thoughts on the jerseys involving the Owen Sound Attack or the North Bay Battalion, or your thoughts on the trade between Sudbury and Erie and Sudbury Niagara. Love to see those comments. Thank you for your continued support. Remember to hit like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon.